Hi everyone, welcome to this afternoon's workshop, basically our presentation on the IRIS project, part of Changing Lives. I'm Carol Dimmick, and basically we've been asked to come and share with you a bit of information on what we actually do within Changing Lives, the IRIS team. And basically we decided we'd share this presentation with you as it's Safeguarding Week. I was just having another quick look at some of the other sessions and workshops that have been carried out, and they look quite interesting. And I know that especially one of the ones, I think it's over the next couple of days, with SARC, rings very close to Jazz and I's heart, because we're now newly qualified ISVAs, independent sexual violence advisors. But we've kind of got a bit of a specialist, as in we're only ISVAs sex workers. So it kind of gives us that little niche, and really it's because of the work that we're doing. At the moment we're just a small team. It's Jazz, myself as project workers, ISVAs, and Summer as our line manager. So there's 3 of us within the IRIS team. We have actually got some vacancies which are out at the moment for a new, I'm going to say, team leader and some other workers, trauma worker, community worker, net reach worker. At the moment, we're based in Wolverhampton. We were previously in Willenhall, which was kind of the middle, because we work across Wolverhampton and Warsaw. So it kind of positioned us in the middle so we could get to both places. But temporarily, because we've just received some new funding for 3 years, we're based very temporarily at the Good Shepherd building, which is opposite the Molyneux in Wolverhampton. And that's until we find some more secure office space, really. So before I introduce Jazz, I just want to give you a little bit of background. My historical background is early years. I'm trained in early years nursery nurse, then went into social care, family support team leading, and then came over 2 years ago to Changing Lives. So that's me. Jazz.
Hi everyone, my name's Jazz. I've worked on the IRIS project for roughly about 6 years. I started off as a volunteer. So what really got me into this post was that I was doing my counselling degree, and one of the ladies that was also on the course with me, she said that I work on this project, the IRIS project, and what we do is we have a drop-in at the All Saints Church, and women who are sex working in the evening can come down and have coffee and cake and condoms. And I was like, that sounds interesting. I want to know a bit more about it. And also I wanted to learn about stigmas, because when I was growing up, I learned in our community, we used to hear bad stories about sex workers and stuff like that, and I wanted to change people's views about them. So I wanted to learn a bit more about them as a people and why they do the work. And so, as I said, I started off as a volunteer, and then I've been working on the project ever since. So I was looking up to, I think, just over 5 years I've been with them now. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Super. Before Jazz goes on, I just want to say that if anybody has got any questions, we have got a slot at the end, but please feel free to jot them down in the chat, and whilst we're going through, we'll try and keep an eye on it and answer some of those questions if we can. If not, we'll defer it. There you go, Jazz.
Okay. And can I just say that I don't like presentations, so I might sound a bit nervous and stuff like that, so I'm really sorry, because when I'm nervous I start speaking really, really fast. So sorry. So just a bit about us then, about Changing Lives. So who are Changing Lives? So Changing Lives is a national registered charity which provides specialist support for thousands of vulnerable people and their families. We work with people who face multiple disadvantages, supporting them through financial, personal and circumstantial difficulties. Our holistic approach helps people take the first step towards a brighter future for themselves and their families. And together we are changing lives. And just a bit about our project in Wolverhampton. So we've got our team, which is the IRIS project. And also in Wolverhampton, we've got the criminal justice team. And what that consists of is women that we work with, women offenders who are on probation. And also we've got one of my colleagues called Ruth who works in the prison. So any women that are going to be released from prison, she picks them up and helps them support with accommodation and also recovery and drug and alcohol services. Next slide, please. And so this is just about our location. So this is where we're, sorry, this is about changing lives. So as you can see, we're mainly based up in North. Our head office is in Newcastle. And across these areas, what we do is we help people with accommodation. This is male and female, even though our project is just female. But up north, we help with people that are facing issues with homelessness, poverty, drug and alcohol services, and also supporting families. And we also have some other projects up north which work with sex workers, and that's the Gap and Map project. And who they work is with male and female sex workers, that being sex working on the street or off street, so in brothels, and working from home. Work from home doing like sex working. Okay, so this is just a bit about our services that we, it's a bit more in detail about our services that Changing Lives provide. So as you can see, we work with accommodation, we reach out, so that's our outreach team, addiction to recovery. Our project, our risk project, and the criminal justice project falls into the Changing Lives for Women, and this is where we provide a specialist services across the UK dedicated to women and girls. And on here, what this basically shows that our women, that even though we specialise in just in the women's services, we also help them through accommodation and by the drug and alcohol services, and we can help them going back into employment as well. And Carol, are you still there? Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
See, yeah.
Okay.
And then this is just a bit about the Iris project. So what we do on the Iris project is we support women who are involved in sex work. This can be sex working on the street, as I said before, in brothels, in off-street sex work. Women who are using sex work to survive. So that can be that they're homeless, so they're using sex work to pay for food, electricity, just for like daily day-to-day living, really. Women that are being sexually exploited, so that can be by like partners, gang leaders, because we do work with women that have been in modern day slavery, so women that have been trafficked into the country. And we provide this support in both Wolverhampton and Walsall. And so the support that we provide is both casework. So this is when we pick up the women. So basically what happens is we see a woman on outreach. It might take a number of times for her to get in touch, because it takes time to build trust with these women as well. So we might see them on the first time on outreach, and then slowly, when they'll tell us what support they need, if they need to get in touch with drug and alcohol services, if they need to get sexually, tested, for any sexual screenings and stuff like that. And if they need any support with the benefits, that's what we see class as casework. And the women that we see on the streets is classed as outreach. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, guys. Okay, and then our project, well, not only our project, all of the projects in our organisation and Changing Lives, what we use is our theory of change, and this is how we support our women on the Irish team as well. And as you can see on the slide, it shows that what we do is we accept that the women that we support come with interconnected problems. So this can be stuff like trauma, poverty. They can have stuff going on in their childhood. So we look at the ACE model. I'm not sure if people are aware of that, but it's the adverse childhood experiences. And also what we do is, like, the next part is becoming, belonging. That's our 3-stage model that we work on with our Irish women. The being stage for our women is when we see them just on outreach. So purely we have women that we just literally see on outreach. We don't do any casework with them. But when they're in the being stage, this is when they actually connect with us. So we have that chat, even if it is just giving them condoms and a goodie bag, that is them being at the being stage for us. And they might just say to us that, oh, well, I need some help with housing. But we might not hear from them because they haven't got no means of contact. So some majority of them don't have mobile phones. But then when they do, we do get some more contact with them. And then they start to go into the becoming stage. And the becoming stage is when they start engaging with us more. And this can be attending drop-ins, actually attending a one-to-one with us. And a one-to-one, our one-to-ones are not formal in the fact that they have to be here at this time, and it's going to be we have to sit down and do work. It literally can be a one-to-one process, having a cake and a coffee, getting them and having literally having a chat, because that's something that they've never actually had with anyone. And so that's when they're at the becoming stage. And also on that stage, it's when they want to have some further support. So they want to go on accommodation, they want to engage with drug and alcohol services, they want to engage with sexual health, and we'll go with them on to these appointments with them, just as a means of extra support. And then the last stage on our journey is belonging, and this is when they start attending drop-ins that we hold, and that's engaging them back into the community. So at the moment, we've got a drop-in which is in All Saints Church, and that's for all community members, and the women attend these drop-ins, and it's just like getting them back into being a part of a community. But what we recognise is our women on the Iris project can flip between these 3 stages. They don't always have to be, they don't go into that order of being, becoming, belonging. They can go from being to becoming, then going back to being, and that's okay, because actually we're going on the journey with them. Our work is more client-led. It's not led by us. It's always about them. And the theory of change, the last part of it, is about flourishing people, and this is about when the women that we're supporting, is back in control. So she's free from exploiters. She's not being, she's not with the modern day slavery. I can give an example. So she's not with the perpetrators who are making her sex work, or she's not with the ex-partner, or she's not with the current partner who was making a sex work to fund her and his habit. So that's just a bit about the theory of change.
Thanks, Jazz. Sorry. So just a little bit more about the types of things that we do within the Iris team, because we find that what happens is we get referrals, and they're often linked to complex needs. So this lady is presenting with issues, mental health, drug and substance misuse, or even homelessness. And what we find is that we're able to offer quite a flexible approach, where we can do the one-to-one support. And in general, a lot of agencies will say, well, you know, we're not doing anything without a referral. Well, we do say that, but we do prefer a good chat on the phone, because you can find out so much more about an individual, and really package that work around that individual's need. So we do the one-to-one support, we do the outreach, as Jazz has just spoke about, and I will go into a little bit more detail about that. And we, you know, offer the opportunity for the woman, our ladies, to get a range of support, you know, and whether it's around supporting them as a one-to-one to groups, and that's groups that we run, but also groups that are run in the community, or whether it's an agency is working with a woman and wants a bit of additional support, you know, and I could talk about a couple of cases that I've had where the lady has been supported by our drug and alcohol service, which is in Wolverhampton. We do link to those in Walsall as well, but the Recovery and EU service in Wolverhampton, working with a pregnant lady, historical sex working, you know, it's a child protection plan because engagement is really poor. So we get involved because because of the history of sex work and exploitation, in a hope to create a package of work for this woman post baby as well. Not all of them, you know, I think on both of the cases that I've worked with, you know, we're at PLO before anything else, so we know that, you know, the local authority are going to, you know, seek a care order, etc. But it's the aftercare as well. So by building up that relationship during the pregnancy, offering some support, and looking at mechanisms around how they're managing and funding their lifestyle, we're then able to pick up again post-birth, so that, you know, we're dealing with all of the traumas attached to that. We do also do non-accredited courses, you know, just to really look at healthy well-being, mental well-being, looking at the trauma, like Jazz said about, you know, the childhood experiences. It's not just about the childhood experiences, it's about the experiences of exploitation that some of our women have gone through. We've done some case studies we've worked with a theatre company and looked at some of the issues around sex working and, you know, the ages that some of our women went into sex working, and recognising in some cases that they feel that that's the only thing they're good at. So then trying to, you know, change mindsets, etc. And what we do, we support drop-ins that some of our partner agencies have, but also run our own drop-in. So the Thursday night drop-in that we had was run in a very close to the red light area in All Saints. And what happened is it was linked to one of the churches, and they started it first, and we sort of supported them. But what it did is it enabled women who were out working to pop in for a coffee. Then it grew and grew, and then you know, we're talking over the years. They the church actually fitted a shower into their bathroom, so that some of the girls who were homeless and working could come and shower, could get changed into a new set, you know, a new or different set of clothes. And because we had clothes there, or get food or have a hot drink. So, you know, creating a session where we were looking out for their well-being as well. So that drop-in has changed, and it's very much situational because of COVID. So, you know, we realised that during COVID, not as many ladies were working in All Saints. They'd all sort of moved to Whitmarine. So that drop-in and the need wasn't there. So we've changed it to a morning drop-in on a Friday morning in Wolverhampton. And it now means that some of the ladies who did come overnight will come along during the day, because we're able to offer food donations, clothes donations. They're able to get condoms. We've now got sexual health recovery near you coming in on a regular basis, so they can get sexual health screening. They can register for scripts and get some advice around their substance and drug misuse. So in general, it's you know, an opportunity for them to get a full package of work and support. Sorry, have I just changed the screen for everybody else, or is it just for me? Jazz, is it?
It's on the Iris team support still.
Oh, I pressed a button and it went funny, so just bear with me. Yeah. All right. Me and technology some days just doesn't work. Okay, so really what we looked at: exploitation, sex working, trafficking, modern day slavery, sex work. These are all sort of the humdrum words that banter about. And for us, our approach when we're working with or identifying any lady that is experiencing or we consider maybe trafficked, or there's an issue of modern day slavery, it's a matter of on the street being able to speak to that lady, to offer some advice. Like Jazz says, sometimes it takes a little while for them to recognise that we're there to help. So in reality, it kind of feels like we tiptoeing around them sometimes, but what we do is make sure we're clear on what's going on in the area. So sometimes we've seen on observation, you know, a car, and prime example is it Wensbury Road in Warsaw?
Yeah.
And we've seen cars with lights on, like a car station with a male in the car watching the ladies across the road. So we will do a double round, go around Tasker Street, park up and just, you know, identify what's going on. What we then do is sometimes we're able to share that intelligence. So we'll put in a fib report, or, you know, our local designated officer, contact them, say we've seen this car, this colour, you know, it is very linked with some of the working girls. And they may already have that intel, but it's very much about sharing as much information as we can to protect our most vulnerable ladies who are out there. In addition, what we also do is we've got a position out at the moment, is net reach. and we go on the adult site and recognise where there's some cases of modern day slavery or even trafficking, and we're able to tap into that and share that intelligence, identify areas where we think it's happening. I think there are they swingers clubs, Jazz?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
swingers clubs, where we've done suspected brothel visits, etc., and we're able to sort of monitor those, just to see what's going on. Are any women linked to there? Are they advertising for bar work? But actually, we know that it's much more than that, and we're able to share that information then to others. So I've got here a list of some of the issues faced by the women involved in sex work. And like I said previously, it's very much about the complex needs that some of the women present with. So we may get referrals, for instance, from Recovery Near You, or I keep getting it wrong, CLG, the Beacon, CGL, stating, this woman has come to us for some support. There's a history of sex work, and then when we tap in and start building that relationship, we find out there's a lot more to this woman and her needs. However, what we'll do is we'll look at what we can do, because our specialised area will be the sex work, sexual exploitation, sexual violence, etc. However, we then have links with yourselves as other agencies who we can tap into and create a package of work around that individual to support their needs. Because we work in a trauma-informed way, we will then devise work that may be linked to that individual to ensure that there's some support there. More recently, again, looking at issues of trafficking, we've, Jazz particularly supported one of our ladies who was brought here quite a few years ago, has no passport, has no recognition of stay, trying to get her immigration sorted out. So we'll tap into some of those other issues. I mean, unfortunately for that lady, we couldn't get her a passport because she'd got some criminal issues in the country that she came from. However, she doesn't want to follow that up. But we still offer the support, because potentially she could still be working, and there may well be risk of, coercive behaviours. So, we're tapping into everything really. Also, what we do with some of our women is register them with National Ugly Mugs, and it's a charity that really looks at supporting sex workers to ensure that they're safe on the streets, but also they look at safety tools to help them look after themselves whilst they are working. And in addition, what they do for the ladies who are registered, so you can register as a professional, which we do, but you can also register as, for the girls, they register as working girls. And then what happens is, if there's been a crime or an alert based on somebody who may have done something to a sex worker, that's shared. So on a week-by-week basis, we get notifications of anything in the Midlands, because that's our targeted area, of issues that may affect the girls. So last week, for instance, we had a notification, and it will just say something like, male in a black car, soft top, refused to wear a condom. So again, that's like a crime. Or like sexual assault in Leicester by a male. These are the last 4 digits of his number. He calls and arranges for an activity, and then refuses to pay. So again, it's it's an opportunity for the workers to understand and to keep themselves safe when they're out on the street. And they, I'd like to say many of them do liaise with each other, but there is some animosity between some workers simply because you get things like one worker will be annoyed that another worker is charging less for something that they feel is worth more. So, you know, a little bit of aggro there.
Okay, so we did some work with the women about what led them to sex work. And these are the factors that the women identified. The one that stuck out for me was this for survival sex was having a bed to sleep in. The majority of the women that we work with are homeless or sofa surfing. Like we've had one woman that's been sofa surfing for 15, 20 years, and she just never had her own stable accommodation. And to hear that, it was kind of heartbreaking, to be honest. And when I first heard it, she goes, I just got nowhere to sleep to, and it was so cold. I think it was a cold night that night. And she goes, I just need somewhere warm, and that's the reason why she has to sex work. Another reason is that they say drugs, that they get onto drugs at a young age, they're exploited. And the exploitation can come from family members, friends, partners, they've got the class of partners, but actually pimping them out. We've had women say that they have to sex work to provide for themselves and their partner. But we do notice that when they are sex working, their partner's nearby as well. So they was hiding around the wall, around the corner, just keeping an eye on them. Coming out of prison was another one. They said that when they came out of prison, maybe they were sex working previously, coming out of prison because they've got no stable accommodation to go back into. Unfortunately, they go back into the cycle of sex working. And childhood abuse is another one as well, or what we class as ACE is when they got childhood trauma at a young age. And they also sex work to pay bills, or if they've got any debt like drug debts or any debt like council tax we've heard of. I had one woman who I spoke to last week who said she was working only just to get some electricity because she had no lecky on at home. So just to top her up, she had to sex work and have one punter. And that was the reason why she had to sex work. So them are just a few of the examples that we hear from our women about why they're going to sex work.
So just linking onto our assertive outreach, basically it is the core of what we do, simply because it means that we make contact with all of the women. So previously Jazz mentioned that some women we only see in outreach, and then the rest we do casework with or in drop-in. So the majority of women have passed through outreach, or we've made contact with them whilst they're out working. The downside of making contact with them when they're out working is the fact that they are working. So we're up against issues like punters who may well be driving by. We may have pimps, you know, and their controllers who are nearby. So, you know, in reality, we do obviously take into consideration those issues just to make sure that we are kept safe. By the fact that we've got our manager on the phone available, that's kind of our link to safety. Sorry, I can see Hazel's got her hand up.
Oh, yeah. Sorry to interrupt mid-flow. I was just wondering, because you talked about just going back into when you were talking about the trauma, how you get involved when with women who are obviously at the stage where it's trauma and it's quite very reactive. Do you do any kind of intervention in terms of preventative work before they kind of get into that stage? Because it seems like it's very much like being on a cycle. I just wanted to know whether or not there's any kind of preventative kind of work.
I think, unfortunately for us, a lot of the women have already experienced the trauma. And what we find we're doing by engaging with them and building a relationship, creating almost like a safe environment, that is when we're becoming more aware of what's going on for them. I think, you know, some of the traumatic experiences that I've experienced post have been late referrals. So, you know, when I've had a referral from Recovery Near You for, you know, a pregnant mum, basically, that I know that the traumas of their child being removed is going to be another point of trauma in that person's life. So may reignite previous issues, but also something we're dealing with, that we then do some preventative work on that level if we can build that relationship. And often we're already joining a core group that's, you know, and I'm going to say, be honest, is already 6 professionals plus. So we then become the 7th, and there's already so many things on that care, you know, that care plan that needs to be put in place that we're sort of on the back burner. So unfortunately, in those situations, or what I've found, you know, it's quite, unfortunately, quite late on, and it's already historical trauma, or should I say, compounded trauma, that we're hitting another traumatic experience for that worker. Not sure about you, Jazz. Is there anything?
Yeah, I was just going to say that with our women, we do use a trauma-informed approach. So if they do talk about trauma and what they've gone through in the past, and what we do is try and give them the skills to like cope with, like give coping mechanisms. That's what I've done in the past with some of my clients. Give them coping mechanisms to help them. Not, I don't want to say get over trauma, because you can't get over it. It's to kind of come to terms with what's happened, and also give them preventative measures so they can watch out for the signs before it happens again, and stuff like that. But we have done that in the past. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So just really going into our outreach, one of the primary things is about keeping, when we're out, is about keeping that woman safe. Obviously keeping ourselves safe, but keeping that woman safe, helping her understand that the risks that because of the work she's doing, especially in relation to sexual health, is imperative. Now, you know, we're aware that many of the women on the streets, because they're financially, you know, they're survival sex work, or if they're being exploited, but not many exploiters or pimps are looking out for their health and well-being. So that's where we step in relation to providing, you know, condoms. We provide STI kits, and, you know, again, we get them from Wish in Warsaw or Embrace in Wolverhampton. You know, we've done it where we've done you know, like a full week of making sure everybody, you know, is given a STI kit to test. We'll put our numbers on as follow-ups as well, so that we can, you know, get the feedback for them. But it's very much about keeping the women safe on the sexual health side, but also health and safety physical side. So we'll talk to them about, you know, making sure they've got alarms, or also talking to them about what do you do to keep yourself safe when you're out on the street at night. You know, so they'll talk about their techniques about, you know, checking out the person, the punter, checking out where they, you know, making sure they know where they're going or whatever, and, you know, utilising those skills that they have to make sure we're sharing that with others. So on an overview, you know, as you can see, we look at lots of different things. Staffing, we make sure that there's 3 of us, so 2 in the car. Jazz and I predominantly do the outreach now. We have had other professionals join us. I'll just say that again. We have had other professionals come and join us. Really, just to say that that's an opportunity for services to, I'm going to say, deliver their message as well. So we've had Recovery Near You from Wolverhampton and P3 Homeless Team come out with us, because it's meant that they've been able to identify, you know, their clients too, and deliver the message to them, because the times that we go out is 8 o'clock. Generally, it's 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock. We have done a couple where they've been like 12 o'clock till 3 in the morning, and those sort of times. They're random ones, but sorry, my camera's off. They're random ones, but in general, when we find that there's a bigger need, then we'll change it around a little bit. We tend to do Thursday and Fridays, but we've mixed it up a little bit this week. We're doing a Wednesday and then a Monday, just to make sure we can offer a bit of variety. We have a manager who is on call and just basically tracks our every move. So they're available throughout the night to make sure we're safe. So we just do a Google Maps sharing, and they know where we are. Even when we pop to IKEA to the loo, not for ice cream, but to the loo, they're there to see where we are. Then we've got to just prepare. We take out resources, and the resources, thankfully, we've got a 7-seater car. And in the back of that, you'll have condoms, we'll have STI kits. We've even got a couple of pregnancy tests as well. We give the women, and they look forward to us. They call us the condom van. We also give them drinks. What we used to do before COVID, we'd actually make them drinks on the roadside. So we'd take a big flask, because obviously very cold and, you know, not nice out there. Cup of tea, cup of coffee, chocolate, sweets, crisps, some comfort stuff really, you know, just to keep them going. But for some, that was all they were having because they were homeless, etc. Then we kind of plan where we'll start, because we do 3 areas: Whitmarines, Wolverhampton, All Saints in Wolverhampton, and Warsaw. We do all of Wednesbury Road and Darlaston Road. So I've just spotted a question: do we have specific locations identified? Is that for outreach? If it's for outreach, what we do is we start at the bottom of Darlaston Road or Wednesbury Road, all the way up to the town centre, around the little roundabout by the Argos clearance, back of the Argos clearance, double back round, go round Tasker Street, then back on that road. So we kind of do a length. In years gone by, I think they used to do more stop and stand still, bit of stationary. We do a little bit of that now, where we might stay for 5-10 minutes. But because we're doing Warsaw and Wolverhampton, and we try to do a little bit more in Wolverhampton because we see more ladies there. We've got 2 areas. We sort of decide where we're going to start, and if there is a specific revisit area. So because we do Darlaston Road and Wednesbury Road, what we also do is every now and then we do over Carmerside. Then we do, we get some intel, and we're told that some girls have been working by Asda Darlaston in the bus depot, in the bus stops. So we'll do a little drive around there. So we, you know, depending on what we're hearing, we'll, you know, go out, and that's like with our observations. We also get intel from the neighbourhood team. So if there's been some ASBO stuff, antisocial behaviour going on, we'll go out and we'll do some observations of the area. Often that's, I think we've had quite a few from Walsall actually, of, you know, some of the industrial areas, things have been going on, and we'll do a drive around, have a look what's going on, send that intel back to, you know, those who need that. We also do a bit of geography. If we've done any suspected brothels, we may go and see what it looks like at night. You know, just checking out the area, what's going on in the area. We quite a while ago, middle of COVID, we had some intel about some possible CSE stuff going on in a couple of the parks in Wolverhampton. So we did some drive arounds there as well, just to see what was going on, and to feed that back. And again, it all adds, and we can pick up new referrals from there. I will just answer Roxanne. Yes, I think Kellyanne, we're going to send those to Kellyanne, and she'll send them all out, just because our new computers are doing some funny games. So we have got a paper referral. It has got our telephone number on. At the end of the presentation is our email address. So, you know, by all means, drop us an email. We're, you know, we're open to any questions, queries. We'll give you a tinkle back, and that's no problem. Then we go to home visits as well. So if we've got clients who we're working with, and whether they're on care plans or not, we've had a few home visits that's been because somebody's been released out of prison, and they're in their new property. They need X, Y, Z and something else. So we'll go along, drop off a food parcel. We may have to have checked out our clothing donation and go and bring them some stuff. Anything, you know, kind of links to our home visit. In addition, because we're working at night, not many services do work late evening. We do get requests from some of our partners as well. Can you pop along? This person hasn't been seen. She hasn't come to her appointment today. Can you just check in on her? And then we'll do that. As long as they're on our books, then, you know, it's great. We can do that. And it's even better if we've got a good relationship with them, because popping along to somebody, and sometimes it is 10 o'clock at night, you know, we've got to be kind of in with them, really, because they don't really want strangers knocking at their door then. Then sometimes we have requests to go in the day. So in our normal working day, we may actually do a bit of scoping, because, you know, I don't know if any of you witnessed it yourself. We have had some girls who are working first thing in the morning. And if that's happening, we're like alarm bells. What's going on for this individual? Why they're out at 9 o'clock in the morning when their school runs on? And we've been out and we've had names of some of our women, and we'll go and approach them and say, what's going on? Why? You know, X, Y, Z, and, you know, taking into consideration what's going on in the area, and especially in relation to schools and, you know, children attending schools, etc. It's the same with, you know, when we get intel about, specifically in Whitmarines, quite a affluent area on one side, and, you know, quite a needy area on the other. And we've had intel from the neighbourhood partnerships, etc., that there's been complaints from residents that, you know, girls are using their porches, you know, to carry out business. It sounds really unheard of, but goodness, we've had some CCTVs shown, so, you know, it's not unknown. And then we'll go and approach and we'll talk to them about being safe and respectful, etc. So we tag that into the whole of the outreach session. So it does really encompass everything. So it's not just about giving them condoms; it's about well-being as well. So you know, it's quite detailed. Jazz and I love it, you know, and as much as it's 8 o'clock till 11, or should I say 11:45, when we just can't stop, you know, it's really interested, and, you know, we're trying to open up to other agencies to join us, to, you know, have a knowledge of what we're doing, and how they can tackle and get in contact with some of their ladies. It's quite good to see. Okay, Jazz, it is you.
Okay, so we just talk a bit about our current case. So I don't think we've got long left, or we've gone over a bit. But I'll just get our spreadsheet up. So currently, for last month, February, we had women that were currently engaged with our services. It was 77. That's a big jump from when we were at the beginning of the year, when we were like at 38. So we've had a big increase of women engaging with the IRIS project, and this being on outreach. It can be at the drop-ins, it can be any referrals. The women that we're actually providing key work and intensive support to, that's 38 women. So that's where me and Carol, them 38 women are split between me and Carol predominantly, and these are women that we pick up day to day. So we make the phone calls, do meet them for one-to-ones and stuff like that. And we've had 4 new women this month that we've seen on outreach. We've had 8 women attend our drop-in sessions. We've had 4 new referrals for the month as well. So as you can see, we are quite busy, even though there's only 2 of us, but we're just going day by day with it. Actually, that's what we have to do. It's because we love our job. That's what it is. We're so passionate about the work that we do.
Absolutely. Sorry, I got you.
And so lastly, but this is the last bit from me anyway, but this is just some work that we did at one of the drop-ins with the women, and it just shows how the women have said that our supporters have actually helped them. So as you can see in the before pictures, these are the examples that they gave, that there were some of the women have actually said to us that they do sex work because they're bored, because they've got nothing to do, which is, you know, unheard of at sometimes. But you can see that it has been said that the women do it because they're only bored and got nothing to do, and that's why we try and get them back into the community and engage with courses and back in with family, back in contact with their family. But as you can see from before, that they always said that they felt dirty. They're sold for say from 15 years to where they are now, where they're actually claiming benefits. They've got a roof over their head. Everyone got that. They've got their own flat, or they're living in supported accommodation. So that's just a bit of the examples that the women gave.
Yeah, I've just emphasised really for a lot of the women that we've over this last year, and especially through COVID, we've probably with the support of Housing First in Wolverhampton, P3, and some of the supported accommodations, been able to house at least 8 women who were in their own accommodation. And when you look at some of those women, I think we've got easily 4 or 5 who are no longer sex working, because you recognise that their homelessness really fed into why they were sex working. And to see them grow, I mean, you know, a good few of them, they've been sex working for years, haven't they, Jazz, from when you first started? So, you know, it is progress. I mean, our aim isn't predominantly about them stopping sex working. It's about keeping them safe. But, you know, by looking at their lifestyle and the changes, it has encompassed them, you know, stopping sex working. I just wanted to highlight that, you know, during the COVID pandemic, you know, to get it everybody, and for us really with outreach, we were just like devastated for 1 week when they said we couldn't go out. And I tell you, we were proactive. We looked at ways in which we could still go out. We sorted the car out so it looked like a taxi, 1 worker at the back, 1 worker at the front, and we're still able to go out and see our clients. You know, and then we had issues around them requiring food and food parcels. So we linked with a charity and we linked with a Good Shepherd, and we were able to start delivering food parcels. We picked up on our outreach. We were working with Wolverhampton Council, and when they were looking at the all-in homeless, they were situated in the hotel in Whit Marines. For some of our girls, it was a bonus because it was like a hotel right on in the middle of the red light district. So it was like, uh-oh. And yes, some of them did try to utilise the hotel, you know, to continue working, but that was like stopped. But one of the biggest things we noticed was a lot of our girls started working from home. So the risks changed. So we had to sort of talk to them about making sure they were keeping themselves safe, you know, touching base with them and making sure things were fine. We also noticed that All Saints, there was like nobody working in All Saints. It became quite quiet. I think it was just because there's not really much of a flow of traffic in that area, whereas in Whit Marines, along Newhampton Road, it was a lot busier. In Warsaw, we saw a reduction, but not a major reduction. We still had girls who were working, and we also experienced some girls who were working for the first time. And like when we asked them, "Oh, we've not seen you before," they said, "Oh, I've never done it before." But because the shops are shut and I'm a shoplifter, I have to earn some money somewhere. So we saw a few changes really. So it kind of meant that for us, we had to adapt the ways in which we worked and, you know, tap into some additional resources as well. So it's all very different. It's changed the way that we work. It's helped us understand our client group a little bit better. And the last thing I just wanted to share with you was just a quote from one of our clients. We often do case studies or we do evaluations just to get some feedback. And because we're funded by the lottery, you know, these things, and I said the lottery, but also the Rough Sleepers Initiative, by providing them case studies about where these women are coming from and the context to their lifestyle. We've been able to provide case studies that show the need of these additional support services and specific support services for them. So, you know, the quote on the screen just identifies that from one of our workers. The lucky thing for us is we're not time limited when we're offering the support, and we know that relationship building takes some time. And for us, if we're only seeing them once a week when they're out on the street, and it takes us 4 or 5 times before they'll actually properly engage, then, you know, you're looking at a bigger time span. So we've been able to offer support on that level. It does bring us to the end of our presentation. Just highlighting on the screen is just a few of the agencies and services we engage with. We do endeavour to work with agencies closer. We are open to referrals by telephone or by email. You know, on the next screen is our email address, and it's our joint email, so it comes to Jazz, myself and Summer, so any one of us will respond to any email queries. As I said earlier, we will send through our referral and our leaflet so that you can actually, the leaflet is shareable with the client group really, but questions and queries by all means, send an email, drop us a line. I didn't add our telephone number on there because sometimes I don't know it, but yeah, if you want our telephone number, I shall just tap it into the chat. 01902 1822. So feel free to give us a call, and they will actually either direct you to us, and then by all means we'll get back to you and let you know some information. But